All right, guys, Mark from parkflyers.com. Today we're looking at one of the best setup Widemaxxes I've ever done. This is my pick and one of my favorite driving cars that I've ever driven. I've been doing a lot of Widemaxxes this year, and of course you do one after the other. You start to get really good at what you're doing, and you perfect. Every car gets better each time I put one together. And this is gonna be so good that I felt like I had to make a video just showing everybody what I did. Now, before you do anything to the car with power, you first want to take care of the handling. The handling is obviously the most essential part of the car. If you're adding power and you're just putting it on a stock chassis, it's just going to be really hard to control. In my opinion, there's no point to it. So let's talk about what we did to make the handling really special. So we went with a Traxxas Response tire. It's a very, very nice tread here, very good compound. It's a little harder than normal. That means it's gonna last a little longer. Also, it has an extremely stiff foam. It doesn't need any belting. Then we went with the 3.8 E-Revo rim. We glued them together. And the offset on this rim makes it 1/2 inch wider front and back as opposed to the standard sledgehammer tire. And that is definitely a big deal. It lets the car have a much calmer feeling when you're turning in, when you're transitioning. When you go deep into the turn, there's less chance of the car flipping over. It just hooks up so much better, and you really feel the difference between the offset and the quality of the tire. The other thing we did is we went with the Power Stroke Proline shocks. Now, these are racing shocks. They don't sit up as high as the stock shocks like that. That's typically how a monster truck sits. Most people like that. But if you're into handling, you get the Power Strokes, and it lowers the car quite a bit. It keeps these level with the ground. They run parallel. And look at that stance. This is a car that's not going to be the type to flip over. It also lowers its tendency to pull premature wheelies. But now you have a car that handles between the stance, lowering the car, and the low profile carcass of the tire and the stiffer foam. It's unbelievable, this car, the way it handles. It really is amazing. When you give throttle and then you cut the wheel to the right or left, the way that it goes into the turn, it's just perfect. It's a perfect balance. So the car rotates on command, and it really feels like you control it. It's flickable, and it's really addicting to drive. If you own a Widemaxx, you owe it to yourself to do this upgrade. Now, you can't just throw the Power Stroke shocks in there because they have, in my opinion, the pistons in these have, the holes are too big. They don't have enough pack, so you got to put 100 weight oil to compensate for that. Team Lozi makes that oil. You put it in the shocks, and it really does slow down the rebound a lot, and it makes it drivable. Proline also makes a spring kit. They have stiffer springs in that kit. You can make this car a little stiffer if you want. You can get that kit. It's available on my website. We'll put the links below after we make the video. So with all that good handling, now we can upgrade the power. So what do I choose? Of course, my go-to brand is Castle Creations. This is an American company. Now, they design their products better than anybody else, in my opinion. I have vintage cars that I personally own. A lot of them have Castle Creations systems. They all work till this day. None of them fail. As long as you take care of them, you don't take the motor over 175 degrees, your motor and your speed control are going to last a long time. So I chose to go with Castle just because I love this. The Cobra 8, it's got a limited edition gold motor. It absolutely looks beautiful, and it has a ton more torque than the stock motor here. This is a 2200 kV motor. The stock motor is 2400 kV, so it's a lower kV, but it's much more torque, and it's a much higher quality motor. This motor is a much better built motor than anything in its class, and it's going to allow you to push this car around and make it weightless. That's how much power this has. Now, you can hook it up in censored mode. It comes with a sensor cable coming off the speed control. We hooked it up because we wanted really smooth throttle response. And the car, to describe it, when you have power that's so smooth, it kind of feels like a turbo. If you ever drove a 911 turbo or a car like a sports car that has a turbo in it, it builds up rapidly. It starts off very smooth, and then it builds up, and it just takes off like a bat out of hell. That's what this is. It's unbelievable. It comes with a programmable little computer chip called Castle Link. It's made for the Cobra 8. It's a different type of link than the other ones. So if you have anything with Cobra, you're going to have to use their 32-bit Castlelink, it's different, and it is free. It's included from Castle. If you don't get one in your kit, Castle will send you one for free. Just call them up and they'll mail you one. Now, with all that power, the most important upgrade when you upgrade the power in your car is to change out this spur cover plate here. Now, it's very, very important as an anchor point because the plastic one really doesn't cut it. This is going to give a much more solid point of see where the screw goes in. When this goes into the plastic, it doesn't really give a good firm hold, and sometimes the plastic will strip out. Once this goes into strip plastic, which I see often on a lot of my customers' cars, you end up getting a lot of skipping. People think their differentials are broken and they get really upset and have a hard time figuring out where the skipping is coming from. Like I said, if this is loose in the plastic cover, it's going to skip and it's going to really affect the performance. You want to get this motor plates. The first thing you want to get with your Maxx. It comes in all anodized colors to match the car. This one's green, so it matches all the rest of the colors with the car. Like I said, it's a precision-made part, and it's 100% needed. Now, the other significant upgrade on the car is going to be this servo here. It's a Power Hobby 760 MG. It is 550 ounces of torque on 6 volts, and it is the perfect amount of power and speed ratio. A lot of times, a lot of people upgrade the servo in a car, and the steering is extremely twitchy and too fast. The car drives like shit. People don't even realize it. You want your steering to feel natural. This servo here, I think it's $109.99. It is the best all-around servo, in my opinion, for power and speed. Do yourself a favor and do not up the voltage on the speed control because you're going to make this faster. Leave it at 6 volts. It runs at the perfect amount of power. And like I said, it is the perfect servo. Now, because it's a standard size servo, it does need a mounting plate. Power Hobby makes the mounting plate that goes with this servo. Now, it also comes with, as a bonus, with an aluminum control horn. So that's a really nice feature. The control horn that they give you does hit this here, so you're going to have to shave this down underneath a little bit. We are going to replace that with a Traxxas horn for the customer so that we don't have to cut his car up, and I think he'll be happy with that. As far as mounting the speed control, RPM makes a really nice cage, and it actually bolts to the chassis, so it's really, really secure in there. We like it a lot. It also protects the outside of the speed control from any damage because it has injected plastic molded parts. Also, it has a spot to mount the on-off button, which is really key. A lot of people leave their Castle on-off switch dangling, and a lot of times it gets ripped off. This is really a very important upgrade. Another upgrade that we did to the car was we made taller gearing with the spur and the pinion. The stock spur is 50 tooth and the stock pinion is 23. For the stock motor, that's adequate, but this is a lower kV motor, so we actually had to get a little bit more aggressive with the gearing. Also, the capability and the torque of this motor is much higher, so you can get away with taller gearing and taking the car to another level. So we went with a 46 hardened steel Traxxas spur gear, and we went with a Robinson Racing lightened pinion, 26 tooth. That combo is absolutely perfect on 4S, and it is total magic. Try not to veer too far off from that because I tested a lot of different combos. This is the best power to heat ratio, I would call it. Power to heat ratio is perfect on this setup, and I really wouldn't veer from those settings. All right, so the last upgrade we're going to talk about are the Traxxas Universals. It comes in a pack of 4 for front and back. They're made from a really hard steel, and they're much stronger than the plastic stock Universals. You're really not going to break these, and it's a very nice upgrade. When you get them, you have to get the 17 millimeter hubs plus the nuts. They're all sold separate. But again, it's going to be made for a much more durable car, and a car like the Maxx, you definitely want to do that upgrade. All right, guys, I just wanted to end off summarizing what we have here. This is going to be one of my favorite setups for the Widemaxx. I really like it a lot. And basically, you have more power, taller gearing, better handling, better steering. Overall, it just feels like a precise precision racing machine, and it really does take your Widemaxx to the next level. If you own a Maxx, I really encourage you to do all these upgrades. They don't really break the bank. As you noticed, I didn't overdo it with the parts here. I didn't put any unnecessary aluminum anodized parts. I didn't put anything for bling. Everything here has a purpose, and I really think this is the minimum setup to take your car to the next level. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us on this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want one of these cars, call Mark at 1-800-470-8932. We'd love to put one together for you. Or you can email mark@parkflyers.com, MARC@parkflyers.com. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.